But, Margit, knowing that he will never be accepted by the people that he fights for, he truly is the most noble of America's children. And has such a tragic end to his story. Because, unfortunately, he stands in the way of the Tarnished and their goal, and it's not a good place to be in. So now we're going to go back and we're going to fight another Gargoyle, who is another boss that just is not great for this build. But BBK is, I believe, like the most powerful Gargoyle encounter you have. The most annoying Gargoyle encounter, I think, is the Valiant. But BBK is the most powerful, so with BBK out of the way, this isn't going to be a 17 throw encounter. So I'm not even going to bother to change to my alternate weapon. But the Gargoyles, again, there's probably a story excuse for why there's so many of them just out and about doing their thing. I dodged away too soon. This might actually have a throw if I don't start playing like I have some brains. Gracious. That was a shockwave. I wasn't expecting that to be a shockwave.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Oh, for the love of grandmas, can you poise break, please? Woo, hey, don't do that. I'm really looking forward to getting kind of the final weapon for this build, because it's such a great strength weapon that it overcomes a lot of the weaknesses of other faith weapons. And the thing for me about the Gargoyle fights that I find so annoying is I don't like fights that are just like kind of take your turn fights, Kind of all these hurry up and wait encounters are just so obnoxious to me. Where it's like, this isn't a particularly hard fight, it's just a time-consuming one.
This is so boring and forever taking.
And granted, I don't have the best weapon for this fight. I'm using a faith weapon on something that doesn't really care about that. But it's like, that fight is just so long and forever taking. Depending on your build, that goes a little bit quicker. But now we are about to go... I guess I can go get this seal I'm going to need when I go to the DLC. While I'm over here. We're about to level up. We may as well spend some money so we can top off. And for the sake of this run, actually, I should just eat Radahn's remembrance, whatever. Because I'm not going to use a strength intelligence weapon on this build. We're going to take a quick detour up to this church here, though, before we go fight the Duo Tree Sentinels. And get the Erd Tree seal. I think, in terms of visuals, I think Altus is one of the prettiest locations to me. I love you've got the Erd Tree, you've got this very pretty, everything's this amber. It also is kind of like the color of madness, if you think about it. But you have all this beautiful, lush gold everywhere. I think Altus is one of the most beautiful locations in the game, personally. So we're going to go up here and get the Erd Tree seal. Where are you? Grab, please. Another cookbook that I don't know what does. Yeah, I did not really use... There we go. That's not the seal I thought it was. Golden Order seal. I mean, that's a useful seal. I don't... Where's the Erd Tree seal? Erd Tree plus... Oh, it's in one of the catacombs. Okay, whatever. That's a good seal to have, too. Let's take a look at it. Let's look at the lore. Fundamentalism is scholarship in all but name, scales incantations using both intelligence and faith. And that's interesting, right? The idea that they equate being a fundamentalist to also being a person of science. So that intertwining of science and religion. And it's something that we see in the modern world a lot, where people are like, you can't believe in science and believe in religion, and both sides have the capacity to be rather derisive against one another, even though biblically speaking, some of the great learned men of faith were also, scientists, doctors, things of that nature. So I think it's interesting that Elden Ring makes a point of stating that they have a certain degree of intertwining with one another. So now we have a duo sentinel fight. We're going to get rid of this one first, because I find the shield sentinels decidedly more annoying than those who don't wield a shield. Now, the nice thing about this particular duo fight and certain other duo fights in the game is you don't have to fight them at the same time. You just have to beat them both for it to count as a win. So don't feel like you have to activate... Yeah, I was like, that's going to take too long. Don't feel like you have to activate both sentinels at the same time. You absolutely don't. You just have to defeat both sentinels. Yeah, considerably easier when you don't die in one hit, like the sentinel that we fought at the beginning of the game. Oh, I dodged too soon. Nah. And for a lot of the Tree Sentinels moves, like it's their AoE attacks, you actually want to roll into the attack. And that's actually for a lot of attacks in Elden Ring in general, you want to roll into the attack. But their AoE in particular is rather hard and obnoxious for a lot of people to dodge. And what you want to do is not only do you want to dodge into that AoE where they slam their shield down, you also want to wait till the last second, or you will still be caught in the splash of that area of effect attack. Let's just get your attention. Because you like to ride down and get the attention of the other soldiers. Can you come within spitting distance, please? I could fight them on horseback, and it's actually a little easier, but I'm not a huge fan of the mounted combat in this game, so I don't really use it that often. Keep an eye on my go-go juice. Yeah, I find the sentinels that don't wield shields to be considerably easier to deal with than the ones that do. Because you don't have that big slamming AoE attack to keep track of. Almost done. If I could stop whiffing all my attacks, that'd be great. Ow. I knew that was gonna land on me, but I was like, whatever. We'll just greed. We'll greed for bleed. Greed for bleed. You're almost gone. Greed. Greed for bleed, baby. Alright, that's another boss felled. I should probably start popping some of my gold foul feet on these boss encounters. So, what do I want to go fight now? I kind of want to just go fight Draconic now. I love this area because I feel like this is one of the areas that the game really kind of opens up to you to like... I mean, so this is definitely like my personal emotion and not necessarily like a statement of fact, but it feels like this area encourages you to just kind of run around and just fight the bosses in just kind of whatever order you please. Which, obviously, right, it's an open world game, that's the point. Like, don't at me. I realize how silly that statement sounds. But I have so much more fun when I get to Altus than any other location in the game. And I feel like Altus really is like, I don't know, go nuts. There's a boss up here, there's a boss down there, there's a boss over there, there's a boss everywhere.
Where am I? Am I here? Or am I here? Bob, I'm everywhere!
And so, I just have a lot of fun in this location. And I think it's also very exciting because it's like after such a long and arduous journey, you get to kind of feel like your battle... Oh, does this... Oh, this doesn't do the thing. Okay, I need a weapon. Let me see if I have something that I can drag real quick so I can kind of show you what I've been talking about. This isn't a great one for it, but these invisible enemies are incredibly obnoxious to hit. And what I find that you really want is a weapon that you can drag. Can I drag the club? Yeah, so I find a dragging weapon is the best one, because instead of having to like try to get your timing perfect for these guys, what you can do is you just get a dragging weapon And you just do that. You just ride in a straight line, holding the weapon down to your side, and then boom, you're done. And it's so much easier than trying to like get a perfect, perfect timing on the swing as they go by you. So if you're having a hard time getting the invisible scarabs, just get a weapon that you can drag along at your feet. And it makes those encounters so much easier. I don't even know what this boss is. Let's find out together. I don't even know what this... I don't really remember this dungeon. Is this one of the dungeons that you fall into holes? Like that the ground caves out from under you? Okay, so this is an invisible wall dungeon. I don't remember this dungeon. Sealed tunnel. Is this where there's a... There's a stone. Okay. A bell bearing. So I don't really go here often because I don't... Why bother using a non-somber weapon, right? Which there are non-somber weapons that are fun to use, but yeah, I typically pop in, I get the bell bearing for the sake of completion, and then I pop out. I don't usually run this dungeon. Who are you yelling at, sir? Actually, is the way I want to go back here? Is it behind the treasure chest? There we go. Okay. Yeah. I just pop in for the bell bearing for the sake of having it, because what I find kind of more fun than doing a bunch of New Game Plus runs is just starting from scratch. Because as I said before, like doing New Game Plus repeatedly makes you good at fighting late game encounters, but it makes you rusty at fighting early game encounters. And as I was, first going through and beating Elden Ring, when I finally beat it for the first time and was playing through it over and over again, I was in this state where I realized, because New Game Plus let me just steamroll the early encounters, that I was just like getting really rusty at fighting these early bosses because I didn't really have to try to beat them, while I was getting really good at fighting the late game encounters. So I started just starting a new game repeatedly instead of doing New Game Plus to make sure that I was staying sharp for those earlier encounters as well. And then I took a several month break from playing the game and became awful at it, and it was all for naught. So this is interesting, right? This is another area where we can see, presumably, the Erd Tree kind of going through and its roots just tearing through the environment. Its influence being felt everywhere. So these are the roots of the Erd Tree. Oh, this is a gravity guy, right? If this is what I think it is, this is a fun sword. Onyx Lord, yeah. I think he gives you the meteorite sword, maybe? And it's a really fun one. Get out of here! Oh, Onyx. Thank you and good night. Hitless, baby, let's go! Yeah, Onyx Lord's great sword. That's a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and just mark this cave off the map. And I'm not going to use this. I don't know whose tower this is, actually. This might be Rykard's tower, maybe. I don't know. Like I said before, I don't really use the Great Runes. I just never liked the idea of something that I had to go and farm a resource to keep using, so I just don't. We are going to detour, though, back to the round table, because we can actually upgrade our weapon a bit more now. So, first things first,
I'm really.
I'm going to go and make some money. Thank you, thank you. Let's sell that, because I'm not going to use that. Let's just sell all our runes and get some money. Get paid, get paid, get paid. All right, now we're going to go and turn in some of these bell bearings that we've been collecting so that we can upgrade our Halo scythe some more. There is Dung Eater. He's disgusting and horrible, as his name implies. And I have never done his quest line because he's disgusting and horrible, as his name implies. Okay, I think my Halo scythe is +5 right now. Oh, I can't actually do anything else with it. Well, whatever, we turn these in. And can always use more stone sword keys. Do I have any... Well, I have a Somber 6, so I can make my Halo Scythe +6. I'm just trying to think how far I'm going to have to go to get... How many Somber 6s do I have? See, that's the thing. I don't want to, because when I clear Leyndell, or when I clear Ashen, Altus, well, when I clear Altus, you know what, let's go fight the doggy. When I clear Altus, I'm going to be getting the next weapon that I want to use, which is Envoy's Longhorn, which is one of my favorite weapons in the game, and it's just... Envoy's Longhorn, even after being nerfed, is such a boss melter. For if you're fighting a large boss, it's just such a fantastic weapon. And really, like, if you want to kind of switch between Envoy's Longhorn and Halo Scythe, you've got a pretty great Faith setup at that point. But if you also want to kind of respec and dial more into the Longhorn, Longhorn's strength damage is great, its stagger damage is amazing, and its Ash of War is fantastic for giant bosses. So it's just such a great weapon all around. It's also a weapon that's very annoying to farm. So again, here, right, we have these marks of these supernatural, these extraterrestrial beings here. Which, like the Onyx Lord and like these guys who are devotees to the gravitational magic and whatnot, that is that kind of sci-fi element of Elden Ring, where we have these falling star beasts and all these other figures that are these cosmic beings, these alien beings that are descended upon this fantasy world, which is just such a interesting concept. And now we have another falling star to deal with. So that was the thing that I hadn't done before, where like if you tag them in the head when they're charging you, then it will make them stagger, which is helpful, but also a tad risky. Especially since, like, you can't target their head. And you have to deal so much damage to actually trigger that stagger. I was like, are you going to go for the grab or are you going to go for the slam? Didn't get my dodge off in time. That's fine. Okay, now that I disagree. That I'm like, I hit the button. I think you guys know me well enough to know that I don't blame the game for my shortcomings. I hit the button, it dropped that input for that dodge. I would like to be able to see, please. That move, I am horrible at dodging. And what you want to do, if you don't put enough distance between yourself and the attack to get out of the way of it, what you want to do is dodge at the last second, similar to the Tree Sentinel's slam attack. But I am horrible at dodging that move. Yeah, see, I'm trying to get that hit, but that Ash of War curls, and so that head-on just doesn't really happen with it. Let's see if I can actually dodge it this time. Oh, I wasn't aware that she already done 3. Okay. Well, you can have this. And I find this Falling Star Beast considerably less obnoxious to fight than some of the other ones, and I think it's because you're not fighting them in an enclosed space. The Falling Star Beast is a very obnoxious boss fight when you have to fight them in close quarters. When you don't, it's not that bad. I'm trying to remember where I want to go to. I think I want to go over here, maybe? Yeah. I was like, where do I go to fight Lansiax? And I think she's up there. We will pop up and deal with Lansiax real quick here. Which is just going to be us riding back out. And I feel like also, like, when I get to Altus, the game just starts going by so much faster. And I think Altus is also special for me because the Black Knife is probably my favorite weapon in the game. Envoy's Longhorn might have dethroned it. The Black Knife is one of my favorite weapons in the game. And when I reached that point where I was like, let me just see what crazy endgame builds I can get online as early as possible. The Black Knife was kind of the first build that I was like, you know what, actually, I bet you I could get a Black Knife at the beginning of the game. Like, I bet you I could get the Black Knife without fighting any other boss encounter. And you absolutely can. You can get Black Knife without fighting any other boss in the game. And then you can literally all game what's meant to be an end-game weapon. And that's so fun for me. And so because Black Knife is such a special place for me, and, you know, realizing I could do that challenge was such a fun thing for me, especially because, like, even without leveling up at all, you can take that Black Knife Assassin without being crazy good at the game because of a AI exploit that has never really been patched, which is basically the idea that if a boss strays a certain distance away from their encounter location, they're programmed to walk back to their arena. And specifically, you'll pretty much only see it happen with a field boss. And I think it might even only be like humanoid field bosses. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen a tree sentinel turn and walk back. Probably I have, not tree sentinel, like a avatar. Probably I have, but it's just not strong in my memory. So what you can do is you can get like the mace and you can kind of bait her over to the edge of her arena. And then you use the mace's, you know, jump attacks to stagger her and stance break her and get bleed buildup and whatnot. And she is programmed to have to walk back to her arena. Like, so you can just use that to just keep her walking away from, like, keep her continually walking back to her arena without actually fighting you. And so I don't know, Altus is just special for me. Oh lord, I was like, please dodge. Wow, this could be going a lot better than it is. Go ahead. Do your worst. Now, dragon encounters are another thing that I don't love in Elden Ring. And the reason being is I feel like dragon encounters, if you're not a range build, are just kind of obnoxious. Please, 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 please. Oh, baby. So not Lansaiax. Actually, I like fighting her a lot. Because she's so aggressive. But a lot of other dragon encounters, you know, it's just you riding back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Now, Lansaiax, she came prepared to fight. She's like, I'm the princess of all dragons, and I don't run from battle. And so she's a very aggressive encounter, which I think makes her a lot more fun compared to the dragons that you just spend the whole boss fight just chasing them back and forth. I also like that she'll do things like that, where she'll kind of fake you out, where she's like, oh, okay, you know what, actually I'm not going to do this move. And Lansaiax is another very tragic figure in the lore, but she's also a little bit of a confusing one. So I think there's a little bit of a case that people make. Let's see. So looking at her glaive, creates a red lightning glaive and sweeps the area from above, unleashes trails of lightning. Lansaiax was the sister of Fortisax. It is said that she took the form of a human to commune with the knights as a priestess of the ancient dragon cult. So I've seen people posit that Lansaiax was Godwyn's lover. I've also seen people posit that Lansaiax was Vike's lover. And it's been a while since I've done a deep dive into the lore of Elden Ring, so there's some specific item descriptions that I think makes it pretty clear who she was in love with and who she was involved with. But I don't recall specifically. I want to say Vike's makes that more implied. But again, it's been a while since I've done a deep dive into the lore. So this is the Black Knife that gives you, the Black Knife Assassin that gives you the Black Knife. And obviously I can just take her straight up right now, but what I'm going to do...
Get down, get down, get down!
is get sniped for my insolence. No, what I want to do is I want to show you what I was talking about how you can break her AI. I keep thinking when she's going up to do that...
Chestnut's about to give you a beating of a lifetime!
Okay, so you see how she's just kind of... Hold on. This This is so dumb. I'm getting bodied because I'm trying to like show you a thing, and so I'm really not at all taking this fight seriously. But what I want to do is I want her to follow me a certain distance. So you can see right around here-ish. Right around here-ish, she's going to start walking back, and you get in front of her, and if you can do it before she disappears, you can just make her keep walking, and she can't do anything. So we're going to get her attention again. That's not what I was trying to do. I just want to show this thing, because this is neat for anybody that wants to get this weapon early. And right around here, you want to get on the other side of her. And obviously, like, it requires you to kind of know her pattern a little bit. But here, now that walk back, oh, I didn't get her in time. We'll try it one more time. And you see the damage persists also. So even if you just use that as a breather to get away from her, the damage persists on her. And so what you want to kind of do is just this. You just want to be careful that you don't knock her too far back, because she will automatically teleport if you knock her too far back. But she literally can't do anything. So you just do this. And as long as you keep hitting her, it does not trigger her protocol to leave the fight. So you can literally start a new game, get any weapon that can stagger, and you just do that. And she cannot do anything else. The AI is programmed. She has to walk back. She has to take 5 steps and teleport back to her arena. And so if you want to start an all game with an in-game weapon without fighting a single boss, get a club, get a mace, go to the Black Knife, and just exploit the AI. And you can get a crazy strong weapon at the start of the game. Which is just... I love it. It's so dumb. And right, with enough practice, you can just fight a Black Knife straight up, like, right? But it's just fun to me to think that, like, if you wanted to have at the start of the game without fighting anything an in-game weapon, you can do that. And Black Knife is... The annoying thing about Black Knife is it doesn't inflict bleed, and you can't put anything... there may be a blood grease equivalent in this game, I don't know. But you can't infuse it with blood. But you've got such a potent Ash of War with the Black Knife that just makes it, so worth it. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. So as always, thank you guys for watching. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. This is Eugene, the author, saying you're awesome, be amazing, you already are. Take care, dreamers.